Welcome to Cinema Bites. Your go-to for movie recaps in a flash. Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. The movie begins with Tim, a brilliant game programmer who is on a work call with a colleague. Suddenly, they are notified that the launch date for their new game has been moved up, much earlier than expected. This news hits Tim like a bolt of lightning, adding to the pressure he's already under. His mind completely blanks out, and he starts thinking about Liv, his wife, who has barely spent any time with him since they lost their child 2 years ago. While sitting at his desk, Tim notices a fly trapped under a glass. He decides to set it free through the window, but as he does so, he loses his balance and the fly escapes on its own. A little later, Liv appears at the bathroom door and tells him she wants to show him something. Tim, distracted and exhausted, tells her to make it quick because he has a lot of work. As they leave, they run into Anton, their neighbor in the building. Right after, Mr. Friedman, the landlord, welcomes them with a broad smile and announces that the building renovations, which took 3 long months, are finally finished. Suddenly, a loud noise makes them all look at a helicopter flying toward a distant area, trailing thick smoke. Friedman tells them there's a big fire in the city of Hoven. After Friedman leaves, Liv excitedly drags Tim to the parking lot and surprises him with a caravan. Liv suggests they just take off and travel to Paris on an unplanned trip, but instead of being happy, Tim is reminded of painful memories. Liv tries to calm him down, saying this could be a chance for a fresh start, and surprises him again by revealing she quit her job as an architect. But Tim tells her it's impossible to take a vacation now, as he's in the middle of an important project. Feeling disappointed and frustrated, Liv realizes Tim may never go back to being the man he was before they lost their child. In that moment, she decides she's going to leave him. The next morning, Tim wakes up to find Liv dressed and quietly packing her things. She firmly but calmly tells him she's leaving, but as soon as she opens the apartment door, she freezes in place. The door is completely blocked by solid black bricks. Tim tries to check the door camera, but the screen is fuzzy. She rushes to the living room and tries to open the windows, but they're blocked by the same black bricks. Liv quickly tries to call the landlord, but their phones have no signal and the Wi-Fi is down. Tim notices that the closer he gets to the door, the more his phone screen glitches and squeals. Meanwhile, Liv examines the bricks in confusion, quietly saying she can't even identify what material they're made of. They don't look or feel like anything she's seen before. Determined, Liv grabs a drill and tries to bore into the door, but the drill can't even scratch it. They try drilling the apartment walls, hoping to find a weak spot, but all their attempts fail. Suddenly, they hear a noise from the neighboring apartment. They rush to the shared wall and start drilling through it. Eventually, they make a hole and find 2 young tourists on the other side, Marvin and Anna. Tim asks if their apartment is blocked too, and Anna nods, explaining that the black wall was already there when she woke up. Marvin, visibly frightened, starts to panic and hallucinate. Anna calmly tells him to take his medication to calm down. Liv smiles reassuringly at Anna and tells her everything will be fine. Tim then notices the water tap isn't working. They realize their water has been cut off. After thinking deeply, Tim tells Liv that escaping shouldn't be that hard, but they need to think as if they're inside a game. This annoys Liv, who explodes at him, saying not everything revolves around his stupid game. She bitterly adds that none of this would have happened if he'd just agreed to travel with her yesterday, then sadly smiles and says it doesn't matter anymore because they're no longer together, and she walks away. Frustrated, Tim throws his phone at the wall and collapses to the ground. He notices the same fly from yesterday on a nearby plate. His eyes return to the wall, and he sees a small piece of his phone stuck to the brick like a magnet. At the same moment, Liv approaches and apologizes for her earlier outburst. Without a word, Tim takes a spoon from a cup and brings it close to the wall. It sticks. Without speaking, they gather all the magnetic metal objects they can find and stick them to the wall. Liv notices a specific pattern: 4 bricks arranged in a perfect square, attracting magnets more strongly than the others. Tim, observing intently, says maybe there's a way to interact with them or something. This sparks an idea in Liv's mind, but before she can act, the knives and metal tools fly off the wall. Tim gets injured, and Liv tends to his wounds, sincerely thanking him for protecting her. 2 hours later, they hear loud screaming from their neighbor's apartment. Tim widens the hole, holding a baseball bat, while Liv carries pepper spray. They both crawl into the neighbor's apartment, where they find Anna badly injured. Liv helps her up while Tim searches for Marvin, who suddenly attacks Tim in a panic. Liv quickly sprays Marvin in the face. Anna screams at them to stop, explaining that the blood on her hands is Marvin's. She accidentally hit him while trying to break the wall. She says Marvin didn't hurt her, and adds that they're both on drugs. Nonetheless, Tim ties Marvin's hands just to be safe. Tim then explores Marvin's apartment further and finds a locked door labeled "No Entry." He breaks in, and Liv follows. Inside, they search for anything that might help them escape. Liv finds a small camera while Tim finds a heavy hammer and tries it on the walls, but the bricks remain solid. Marvin, now a bit more lucid, asks why he's tied up. Anna explains he attacked Tim earlier. Marvin apologizes. Liv loudly suggests that the only way out might be through the floors. She tells the group the building was built in 1897, and during World War II, an air raid shelter was added underneath. She remembers seeing it when she first moved in. According to Liv, the shelter connects directly to a nearby metro station, but to reach it, they'll have to break through at least 3 floors. It's risky, but it might be their only chance. Excited, Tim starts breaking the floor with the hammer. While he works, Anna casually mentions she's seen TikTok videos about UFO sightings. Marvin scoffs at the idea and blames Friedman instead. Liv calmly says Friedman is a good man. Eventually, they make a hole in the floor and use clothes as a rope. Tim goes down, only to be surprised by Oswald, another elderly resident. Oswald threatens and warns him he won't share any of his stored food. Tim reassures him he's not after his food, just needs to get to the first floor by digging a passage below. At that moment, Leah, Oswald's granddaughter, appears and tells him to stop scaring the neighbors and give them a chance. Oswald reluctantly agrees but warns them to stay away. He gave them one of his shoes and brought another. The group went down. Marvin was struggling as he descended. His hand was tied, but he managed to get down afterward. Leah said offhandedly that they had a ladder they could use next time. Marvin's tie was undone and he was warned to behave well. Then Liv gave him the hammer. Marvin started breaking the floor while Liv noticed that Leah was quietly sending messages on her phone. She asked her, and Leah admitted that she was having a fight with her friend. Liv reassured her calmly and told her she would see her again as soon as they got out of there. Then Tim noticed a smoke alarm on the table and became suspicious of it. They broke it open and found a hidden surveillance camera inside. He asked Oswald if he was the one who put the camera there, but Oswald told him that installing those alarms was Friedman's job. Tim checked another one. Same thing, another camera. Marvin concluded that they were trapped in a broken version of Squid Game. Liv interrupted him and pointed to the wall, saying that Friedman's apartment was right behind that wall. They simply asked about it and, without wasting time, broke the wall separating them from Friedman's apartment. They called his name but got no answer. Leah told the group that she and her grandfather would stay there. The rest entered. Marvin took a backup knife. They carefully explored the apartment and finally entered a room only to find Friedman dead with his hand cut off. Liv gasped and stepped back in shock, quickly leaving as she was about to have a panic attack. At the same time, Tim took Friedman's phone and found many pictures of those strange black brick walls. They went back and told Leah and Oswald what they had discovered. Marvin, who looked terrified, started hitting the floor even harder than before. Liv picked up a newspaper, read a section, and then showed it to Tim, asking if those bricks could be related to the Heaven City fire. But Tim dismissed the idea, saying it was too far-fetched. Suddenly, the floor beneath them collapsed. Tim, Marvin, and Anna fell to the next floor, but the exhausted Oswald said he couldn't go on. He asked her to go without him, but Leah refused, saying she wouldn't leave him unless he came with her. Eventually, Oswald gave in and followed her with a faint, tired smile, saying quietly that Leah's mother also never listened to him. Suddenly, a door opened and a man came out introducing himself as Yuri, Anton's friend and the apartment's resident. Yuri looked at the group with curiosity and asked why they were making holes in the ceiling. They explained they were trying to break into the basement to escape. With a serious tone, Yuri told them that leaving was impossible. The outside world was contaminated, and claimed that the black brick walls were put up as a protective measure. Liv then asked where Anton was. Yuri took them to Anton's room, where they found him lying motionless on the bed. Yuri explained that Anton had collapsed in front of the wall, probably due to a heart attack. The group offered their condolences but told him they were still going to try to get out. Leah stayed behind examining Anton's desk, noticing strange codes and scribbled drawings on the papers. After memorizing them, she left to catch up with the others. The group then broke the last part of the floor and went down to the basement, moving deeper into the cold concrete space. Finally, they found the emergency exit of the building, but it was also completely sealed with the same black bricks. Out of frustration, Marvin hit the wall angrily with the hammer. Oswald quickly intervened, pulled out a gun, and warned Marvin to stop. Marvin pretended to calm down but suddenly snatched the gun from the old man and fired a shot at the bricks. Immediately after, the metal pieces embedded in the bricks were violently pulled out and flew directly toward the group. One of them hit Oswald, who unfortunately died. After returning to Anton's apartment, Yuri apologized to Leah for her grandfather's death. In the silence that followed, I suddenly spoke up. What if we're all trapped here because we have something in common? Everyone looked at her. She told them she had an accident that almost killed her when she was 15. She was hit by a car while riding a bike. Leah also shared that she survived cancer 2 years ago. Yuri continued and confessed that he was a police officer and had killed someone on the job, something he still hadn't forgiven himself for. Then, Leah indirectly hinted that Marvin had also killed someone. Marvin apologized profusely, saying he didn't know the bullet would ricochet. Then Yuri encouraged Tim and Liv to share something. Liv quietly revealed that they had lost their child, which made Tim very upset. He exploded at her, saying their private life was no one's business. But Leah accused him of never dealing with the reality of their son's death. She said she had needed him at that time, but he acted as if everything was normal and went straight back to work. She said that since then, she'd been waiting for any sign of emotional connection from him, but it never happened. After a moment of silence, Tim pulled himself together and told the group they needed to search Friedman's apartment for renovation permits or surveillance videos. Leah then said she had seen detailed notes in Anton's apartment that might help them get out, so the group split up. Leah pointed out that Anton had drawn patterns of the bricks, and Liv added that they had just discovered a formation of 4 bricks in a square shape with a strong magnetic field. Then Leah spotted a business card. Apparently, Anton worked as a senior programmer at Epsilon Nanodefense. At the same time, Tim noticed that Friedman's apartment looked newer than it should be and realized there was a whole fake wall hiding a secret room. At the same moment, Marvin found a remote control device that seemed to be the key to opening the wall. But since they didn't have Friedman's fingerprints, Tim said the possible combinations could be in the millions, unless they found a way to narrow it down. Then he asked Marvin to bring him a powder, and using it, he said the possible combinations were only 24. I excitedly ran to tell the others. Back to Liv and Leah, they found a broken laptop, a phone, and a bunch of crumpled papers full of codes. They looked at Yuri and asked him about them, and he simply said he had gone mad in the end. At that moment, I arrived and told them about Tim's discovery. Leah stayed where she was, while Liv and Yuri went after her. Upstairs, Tim finally cracked the code and entered the secret room, only to discover that Friedman had installed illegal surveillance cameras to spy on the residents. The group then discovered that Anton had actually collapsed on his own, despite Yuri's earlier claim that he had fainted inside. Suddenly, they realized Yuri had disappeared. Marvin volunteered to look for him. Then there was a strange flash of light, as if someone was taking selfies, followed by sunlight coming through holes in the wall. It became clear that Anton had managed to open the wall but was killed by Yuri. At the same time, Marvin found Leah dead on the floor and caught Yuri burning Anton's papers. Yuri told him that the wall was there to protect them. Tim arrived just in time to help Marvin, and together they managed to overpower Yuri and tie him up. In the living room, Tim opened Yuri's bag and found a book titled World War II. They handed Marvin the gun and told him to keep an eye on Yuri. After that, he comforted Liv and reassured her that it wasn't her fault. Anna also joined them. She was confused and wondered out loud why Yuri might want to kill Liv. Liv replied that it was probably because she was close to finding a way out, just like Anton did. Anna noticed that the camera was flashing on and off, so Anna told them I would try to recover the video recordings of what Anton did at that time. Liv and Tim were going through the burnt papers, trying to gather anything they could. Liv suggested that the wall might be coded. Tim noticed a certain pattern and called it a time gap code, similar to Morse code, but a bit more complex. He was convinced that Anton had somehow managed to crack it. Liv revealed that Anton had worked on the team that built this brick wall after she examined the card carefully. Tim told her that this facility was located in the city of Haven itself. In the end, they decided to ask Yuri how to break the brick wall code, but Yuri simply replied that all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly alone in a room, a quote from Blaise Pascal. Tim angrily yelled and asked if the fire was in the Epsilon facility. Yuri confirmed this and added that, as far as he knew, the wall was a defense system that activates in the event of nuclear, biological, or chemical threats, and that they were already at war. Liv asked why Anton would try to escape if the outside world was contaminated. Yuri admitted that Anton believed it was a system malfunction caused by the fire. Suddenly, Anna shouted that I had found the recordings. In the video, Anton was seen programming an app on his phone to open the wall. Tim realized it wasn't a time gap code, but a visual code, like a QR code, which the phone could read immediately. He got Anton's phone, and Tim started retrieving the data and transferring it to my device. The three of us moved towards the wall while Marvin was watching Yuri. Tim began scanning the bricks and pressing 4 squares. The brick wall melted and turned into liquid. Out of curiosity, Anna put my hand inside and said it felt warm and something was moving, but then the wall started closing again. I got pulled inside, but they only managed to pull out half her body. Marvin, devastated and broken, in a fit of despair, shot Yuri and then killed him. A few hours later, Tim apologized to Liv for not being there for her when she needed him. He told her the most dangerous thing he loved about her was her stubborn secrets and how she stayed present even when he shut himself off emotionally. She told him that's what you do when you love someone. Then Tim suggested they leave. This time he started pressing the code from the bottom, but Liv stopped him and asked him to focus on the flashes. She noticed the first square had 1 flash, the second had 4, and so on. They realized the flashes matched the selfie pictures in the video they watched, so they counted the correct order. Just as they were about to try it, Yuri attacked them, pushing Tim down. Liv staggered, lost her balance, and fell to the basement floor. Tim took advantage of the moment, pushed Yuri after her, and then, without wasting a second, pulled Liv up. The two of them escaped to the air raid shelter and closed the heavy iron door behind them. Tim asked Liv to open the door while he tried to hold off Yuri. Yuri overpowered Tim, but Liv grabbed a hammer and hit Yuri on the head, saving Tim. The two of them left the apartment and went outside, only to discover that all the surrounding buildings were also now surrounded by brick walls. They got into the caravan and turned on the radio. A news bulletin announced that the brick wall protection system had been activated due to a serious malfunction caused by the fire. Authorities were still investigating whether the fire was accidental or sabotage, and that's the end of the movie. See you in a new summary.